It looks terrible, smells disgusting and can lead to dizziness, nausea, asthma and even blindness or seizures. Dog poo. And one nursery in Plymouth is struggling so much with it, they're leaving free bags outside so owners can pick up after their pets. Now, anyone who doesn't could face a £100 fine. The City Council is promising more patrols. It is urging people to report offenders via its website. And by the way, you can do it anonymously. In a moment, we'll be talking to the head of Keep Britain Tidy. But first, this report by John Henderson. And if you're having your dinner, you might want to look away now.
George and Mum Jen running the gauntlet. They've just left the toddler's nursery in Plymouth. But this sort of thing is everywhere.
Horrendous, in all fairness. I would just like owners to pick it up, I'm not going to lie. Tops teach children to be independent, which is why I chose for George to be here, and to look after our planet. And this isn't what it's doing, is it? They're just people that, I'm guessing it's people that live here, just aren't picking up after their dogs.
The other end of the street isn't any better.
Yeah, a prime example as well of the dog poo. So,
prime example?
Yeah, prime example.
Freshly laid, do you think?
Yeah, I think it is freshly laid, yes.
I'm not smiling at what you're saying, it's just because I can smell it now and it's not good.
No. And like I say, the children will come into nursery and they say, oh, there's dog poo out there again. So, because they know that the dog owners should be picking it up. So, because that's what we educate them with.
For owners whose pets might be caught short, the nursery is providing help. Some people who live nearby think offenders just need to think of others.
You get a kid falling over into dog poo, not only does it run the risk of giving them an infection, it also role models them a toxic way of using the streets. It talks about lack of care, lack of due diligence, lack of thinking for others. So it's not a good role model as far as I'm concerned.
In a statement, Plymouth City Council said dog fouling is a blight on our city and there is absolutely no excuse for not picking up after your pet.
The council's also arranging for more frequent patrols of enforcement officers, and it said residents who witness dog fouling and can identify the perpetrator can report it via the authorities' online form. The estimated pet dog population is at an all-time high, with 10.2 million animals.
There are frankly far too many people that let their dogs do their business on the street and don't clean up after them. That's especially important that they do clean up after them outside GP surgeries, shops, schools and play groups, because we don't want little people running into that dog mess and taking it home with them or putting it in their mouths.
If only all dog owners could do this. John Henderson, BBC Spotlight, Stonehouse in Plymouth.
And we know from your many emails it's a huge issue. So what can be done about it? Well, I'm joined now by Keep Britain Tidy's CEO Alison Ogden-Newton. Thank you for joining us on the programme this evening. It's a horrible issue, but how big a problem is it?
Well, good evening. It's a very big problem indeed. We saw during lockdown the number of dog owners significantly increasing. So we now have many millions of dogs and lots of very new dog owners. And our sense is that these are inexperienced dog owners, and we're actually seeing quite a significant rise of people who aren't clearing up after their dogs.
And what's the answer to this, though? Because if people won't or don't pick up their dog mess, it's very difficult to approach someone. I've been in that situation where you can see someone's dog doing something, they don't pick up. How do you tackle it?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily advise the public to tackle one another, but it does need to be tackled as a problem. Toxicorosis, which is the infection that you get from dog feces, is very serious and really does cause blindness, aside from other sorts of infections. And also for people, you know, with small children, all of us really, but wheelchair users, it's a nightmare. So what do we need to do? I thought the nursery putting the bags out is fantastic. And also there was talk of more enforcement. Enforcement is key because people do need to be issued with fixed penalty notices for abandoning their dog mess. But also we need campaigns to raise people's awareness and make them understand how important it is to pick up after their dogs. We've got 4% of dog owners, and that's many hundreds of thousands of people saying that they don't bother, and 3% telling Keep Britain Tidy that that they put it in bags but leave the bags behind. So what's that about? I don't know. We need campaigns like We're Watching You and There's No Such Thing as the Dog Poo Fairy, and more enforcement, and people need to pick up after their dogs.
Yes, and of course those dog poo bags which say that they're biodegradable take absolute years to actually biodegrade, so that's quite falsifying, isn't it? And you mentioned very briefly wheelchair users as well. It can be a real health hazard.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Can you imagine? You've got to touch the wheels in order to be able to operate your wheelchair, and you will be therefore touching dog mess if the wheels have got into dog poo. So, real nightmare for wheelchair owners. There is no such thing as a biodegradable bag as far as we're concerned. Biodegradability has no standard in this country, so anyone can claim anything's biodegradable and it's not necessarily tested. But think about it. Even if it was effectively biodegradable, it's full of dog poo. So where's that going to end up? Just back into the soil and the community. So really bag it, put it in a bin. Any bin will do. A lot of people don't know that. But please pick up after your dog.
Alison Ogden-Newton, good to talk to you this evening. Thank you very much indeed.